Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dr. Maria Sampalis, and today's guest is Dr. Marinda Hofacre. She is a sublease doctor at Costco's. Hi, Mindy. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show today. I get a lot of doctors that we spotlight, and when I heard about you, I was like, I want to have her on the show. I want to inspire other female ODs to have a Costco sublease, have a sublease with another corporate optical, and be able to highlight you and all the great things that you've done.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been an incredible experience being here in Costco.
For those of you that do not know Mindy, she has 2 Costco subleases in California, currently has staff of 6 ODs and about 10 office staff, and has Optolite IPL in the office, very busy practices, top LASIK co-manager in that area, and just as works hard 6 days a week, sees patients, works hard in the gym, and just loves exploring, Mexico and skiing, and is getting married. There's a lot going on. So
there's definitely a lot going on. Yeah, exciting life right now. So but I have a really fun situation going on here in Southern California. Busy situations. I've been with Costco now for 22 plus years. I started about a year out of school. One practice 22 years old now. The other one is about 15 years old. And it's really just been all about hard work.
Yeah, that's great. Now, the Costco's, give us a little bit of background. How did you choose it, almost 22 years ago to partner with them when corporate optometry was not a popular path to go on?
100%. I mean, I do recall in school that I was told not to go that route. Even worked for a private practitioner. And when I told her I was leaving for Costco, she told me I was biting the hand that feeds me. And, I just looked into some options, talked to some doctors within the Costco settings, and found that they were really happy with what they were doing. And they were truly just practicing optometry, doing everything that they had been trained to do. And they didn't have to worry about the optical, and that wasn't part of their job. They just focused on their patient care. And I was intrigued by that.
So tell me on how you kind of expanded and then took on a second sublease. Usually it's hard to get subleases for Costco's. Mm-hmm. For doctors that are listening to this podcast, I'll always get like PM saying, give me some advice on how to get one. I want one. They're one of the most sought out subleases. And somebody says there's like a 20-year waiting list to get one. Give us some insight on that and how you got 2 subleases with them.
Yeah. So, well, I started so long ago. When we originally started 22 years ago, I did not lease directly through Costco. In California, it was privately held by a company called MB&R. And since, I think 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years now, they've all retired. And so our leases have gone back into Costco's control. But when I took over my first lease, I was asked to take over an office where they actually had to dismiss a doctor because of patient complaints to Costco and to corporate. And there was a lot of bad things occurring at this practice. So I went in, just absolutely cold start. This doctor had done everything to kind of make it as challenging as possible for me to open. But opened. Basically, within a year, doubled what that office was doing. Within a couple of years, had quadrupled it. And it was just honestly hard work. And I knew that as time went on, I heard of a couple doctors that had mentored me. A couple of them had gotten a second location. And I was like, how do you do that? And they said, hard work, just keep working hard. They'll see your numbers. They'll see the type of production that you do. And if you have successful opticals next door. And, it was true. It really, at that point in time, was hard work. And I had always pushed, hey, if another one ever opens, I'd love to get involved. And I remember it was Christmas Eve, 15 years ago, and Brad McGee, who was the doctor that ran MBNR, he called me and he said, "Are you interested in San Dimas?" And I said, "Absolutely. When do we start?" So that's how it went, 15 years ago. And I do know it's different now with Costco being in charge of the leases. There's more of an interview process. It goes through corporate Costco, and then even you're interviewed at store levels by store management and optical managers and regional managers in Costco. So it is different now. But I will tell you, if you're looking to get one, I would work with some Costco doctors. I would understand how the model works and how to be successful within the practice. Because I think if you come in with that experience, it shows you've done your homework, and it also proves that you know what you're getting involved in.
Of course, yeah. So hard work is a big thing, and I believe in that, and that's how I think over the years that I've been successful, and I think that's underrated recently, unfortunately.
It is.
But it has a lot to do with your success. You got to put in the work. You have to do it, but once you got there, right, you got to that point where you were being successful. You didn't stop. You just keep going, right? You don't get complacent. You don't settle. You took that on, right? And I'm sure at first it was a little stressful, right? Because you're taking on another one, and you got to find a doctor now. They want this car, but you did it. So tell us what that mindset was for you to kind of get over that hump, to take on the second, and continue to challenge yourself to do the next best thing.
Yeah. Well, when I did open the second one, it was when our economy started to go bad in 2009. And so it was a real challenge. And I had to work almost 3 times harder than I was prior to opening that second one, because there wasn't many people coming through the door of the brand new one. It was a very slow start for a Costco. And they usually say within 3 years, a Costco's up and running, you have a great patient base, and you're starting to become successful. Well, this one took 6, but I am proud to say that now, 15 years later, it's busier than my original location. So it's about being open on the Sundays. It's about, full hours on Saturdays. It's about taking walk-ins as much as you can, and getting the community to know you and your other doctors, and coming back from year to year, So again, it has been hard work. It's been several years of 5-6 days a week with short lunch breaks, if at all. But it's been well worth it. And I enjoy what I do. I love the patients that come in. It's been really fun to just grow with it, and enjoy the growth. I mean, thankfully it works with my personality. I like the constant interaction of a new patient, several patients an hour. I think my 2 favorite weeks of the year are the last couple, where it's so busy you can hardly think.
Hold on, are you my twin in California? What?
It's like I look forward to those weeks, and it's like it's go time.
That's right. I say it's Super Bowl week. Let's go.
It is, and it's fun. If you make it fun, and you can have fun with the staff, you can do all sorts of creative stuff to get everybody involved, and it's good. As far as like management, I have learned over time that I needed to delegate more. And at first that was a challenge. But now I do work with a lady who was an employee of mine. She's been with me about 8 years now. In the last 3, she moved to Oklahoma. So she helps me with all my new hires. So she helps me find new employees. She helps me screen employees. She helps me do all the employee scheduling. She bills all the insurance for me. She pulls all the insurance for my staff before we open because she's 2 hours ahead of us. And that way the staff can focus more on the patient care when we're here. So I've treated myself to people like that in my life that are so helpful. And I would highly recommend that to help build your success so that you can focus on the patient care, focus maybe on the marketing and some of the other things that help drive people into these offices.
So tell us what a day at Costco's looks like. Like, how many patients do you see? You say you take some insurance, right? But it's mostly self-pay. Tell us what that looks like, and how you use your staff to be efficient if you're going to be fast paced.
Yeah. So I book 4 patients an hour. And then I'll have another doctor with me most days, and they're also booked 4 patients an hour. We'll have at least 2 staff members up front. Like I say, all the insurance stuff is taken care of outside of the office. We take 4 vision plans right now, and the rest is self-pay. We offer like the OptiMap. We have OCT. We also have the OptiLight. So those are now all cash pay features that really help the office grow. And they're also a good source of referral because patients love them. So our office hours are 10 to 7. Like I say, the doctor that works with me, they get their hour lunch. Myself, not so much, but that's okay.
It's all right. You're the business owner, so sometimes a business owner has to make some sacrifices, right? And that's 100%. Why you've been so successful, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. Tell us about the IPL that you have in your practice, how you've incorporated into your corporate practice, and just how you've collaborated with OMDs in the area with LASIK and things like that with your practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the OptiLight is new to us, but we've always been active in treating dry eye, and it was like, well, what can we do next? And IPL sounded like the best treatment and the best modality in our practice. And patients were really interested when we asked about some options as far as treatment. So we basically set up initial exam. We will go through dry eye therapies, and then we do talk to patients. We even have a handout on, this is how we're going to initially treat you. And then this is what we're going to do if we're not getting enough success. And that's when we start to bring in the IPL. And so that's been very successful in the practice. We're all extremely excited to have it. It's been a lot of fun. We also collaborate with a group called Envision. And Envision's very big in Southern California. And we work with them in co-managing LASIK and cataract surgeries. And we're their top referring doctor out here in the Inland Empire and North Orange County. And I truly believe LASIK's a fantastic procedure for the right patient. Also, their cataract surgeon is excellent. So we get really great results with those patients. And they're all a great source of referral. We do all the pre and post operative care for the surgeon. And so I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing the success with the patients, seeing 2015, even sometimes better vision than that. So that's how we co-manage with them. And again, it's just, how do you bring extra cash income into one of these corporate settings? And OptiLight, LASIK, cataracts, it's all a great idea. It's all a good way to go.
Yeah, so that's the kind of like the medical model. So each brand's a little different on what insurances they take and what they do, but it's always good to incorporate things like that. One of the big misconceptions is that, optometrists can't do medical stuff. It's a refract and refer thing. And just listening to your story, it's not, and you've done how you practiced. I mean, it's a high volume practice. I mean, you see a lot of patients, but why not? I mean, the more you do, you have another doctor there too, and you see patients, be efficient, you have the technology, you have the staff. Hopefully you have a staff. Nowadays it's just crazy. But you can see that many, and I would assume, like, even one of my subleases is most like at a college area. Hey, we could do that because they're young kids. It's easy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we, at this point, I don't bill medical in the practice, but we see medical exams all day long, but we charge cash for that. And, our patients are okay because they get that immediate service. They're seen, any medical issue, they're seen same day. So I haven't found a problem with it. So that's where we're at with it right now.
Yeah, if you don't have to take insurance, don't take insurance, I mean, if it works, it works. That's great.
It has worked in my setting, and it's just, I still feel we're paid well for the services that we're providing.
Yeah. Now tell me, in a corporate setting, you guys are high volume and you're already booked. How do you incorporate walk-ins for doctors listening to this podcast? Just to kind of keep up, and how do you figure out how to squeeze them in? How do you coach your staff to do that?
So one thing that I have always found in this setting, and I discuss this with all of my staff, I would prefer to not be booked out more than a day in advance. And I would prefer to take walk-ins because the people shopping in Costco, they want the service now.
That's right.
And so we are extremely accommodating to walk-ins. We went away from it a little bit during the pandemic. And it was time to get back to that. And it's really, I don't know how to explain it because like I say, I would prefer to not be booked out, and I would just prefer to take walk-ins, and we successfully do that every single day.
Yeah, I think that model is that. And then on Saturdays, I tell my doctor, I hire a doctor and I have staff, and I said, Saturdays usually, you have to know your business, but I said, Saturdays usually more walk-ins, right? We have to figure it out. We have to accommodate. If patients are booking appointments, let's try to get them in during the week, right? Non-peak time, so we can have that open and do that. Yeah, exactly. and those are patients that want an exam, willing to pay out of pocket. It's easy, all right? So why not capture that? They want convenience. So I always ask, hey, where did you go before? Why are you seeing up? Well, it's convenience. Convenience is super important. They want to be able to get in. It's more important than being the cheapest eye exam. So that's great as a sublease. So we don't have to be the cheap, but convenience is important. And why not maximize your time? And it's like easy. It's just easy to just get them in my opinion. In that case, if it's routine, if it's something complicated, then you can have them come back. But they usually, if we book out, usually those patients do not come back, is what I found in my experience.
That's exactly what we have found. The no-show rate goes out the further I'm booked out. And that kills the business, because then it's like, oh, do I take that walk-in? But yes. My doctors, most of them, for at least 6+ years, they're very comfortable with the pace. And so, and their pay is basically bonus upon how many patients they see. So they're
motivated too. Yeah, they're motivated. So let's talk about patient retention. Yeah, let's talk about patient retention in corporate optometry. There's been some saying that they just come one time, they don't come again. And, I think as longer you've been there, the more higher the retention is, of course, right? Tell us about 100%. How you've been able to retain patients over the years in your subleases.
Yeah. So I'm pretty active as far as like our Facebook and our Instagram. I work with a company called Done For You Marketing, which has been excellent. And they do just focus on eye care. And they've come out with like we've rebranded recently. They're very aggressive with like a lot of my online advertising. But, every patient is receiving a text message, email, and even if we don't see them after that, then they're getting like a phone call we use iCloud Pro here. And that's been a great system as far as getting these patients back in. We recently did a campaign with Done For You Marketing where we did a mail out to patients that we haven't seen, and our return on that was amazing. I was really pleased with the results. So we're going to do another one of those campaigns pretty soon here. But it's just about letting people know that we're still here. It's about having the good reviews online, so that the presence is there, and makes new people want to come in. It makes other people want to come back.
Yeah, that's some good points. I mean, patient satisfaction, right? So there was a poll in a Facebook
100%.
group, and it said, doctors, what keeps patients, and personality, right? It's connecting with the patient,
Yeah.
and then so patients will want to come see you.
100%. Yeah, because we find it, and one thing that's been happening over the last few years, and I'm sure other corporate doctors are noticing it. Some of our VSP patients that have come for years, I haven't changed anything with VSP. However, they come in and suddenly they're not covered in the office anymore. But I will tell you that probably 95% of those patients still say, you know what, it's okay. This is my eye doctor and I'm going to stay here. And they'll build the insurance on their own.
Yeah, so. That's great. Now tell us about you getting married now.
Well, that's coming up in May. I've been with my fiance for over 10 years now, and finally going to tie the knot. We like to spend a lot of our free time in Mexico, so our wedding is in Mexico, and I'm looking forward to it. So yes, it makes my day even more crazy, especially right now as it gets closer. And I have a laptop on the side and I'm responding to emails about what we need at the wedding. And then, 10 minutes later, I'm talking about your retina. So it just keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. And then you're going to do the honeymoon in Mexico too, correct?
We will stay for a few days after the wedding, and it's a very small event. It was 30 of our closest friends and family. So
that's all right. Destination wedding. Perfect.
Yeah. So it'll be very lovely. I'm looking forward to it.
That's good. Yeah. And then, you also, fitness is very important to you, right? And you put a lot of things. So tell us about that, where you're seeing all these patients, and then how do you have the energy at the end of the day or the beginning of the day to do that? I mean, for a lot of us, it's important, right? Because it affects even your mood at work if you're stressed out so give us a little bit of how important that is to just success of your business.
Yeah. Well, I have found over time, my self-care, my mental self-care is extremely important to the doctor I can be when I show up to work. And I feel for as much energy as I give my patients, I need to take some time every morning to focus on myself and my own personal goals. And fitness is a passion of mine. I get up at 5 a.m. every day. I either start on the Peloton, go to a spin class, or I go to the gym. But I work out pretty much 6 to 7 days a week. Some days are light, but some days are pretty tough. And I just feel like if I give that hour and a half to myself every morning, that I can then come in and listen to potentially 30, 35 people and all their different problems and complaints. But I can actually focus on them and give them what they need from me as their doctor. So fitness just helps clear my mind and keep my body aligned. And I feel like it makes me a much better practitioner.
No, I feel it does too. Because you know what? I was talking to one clinician at one point, and, as doctors, we usually hear about complaints of people complaining to us all day long, usually, right? So it's also puts a lot of stress on you. So, mentally. So what are some ways that we can do, like, de-stress, not burn out in this kind of environment right now with not finding good staff? And I think that's one way to do so. And it helps with mental health as well, and being positive attitude too. When I was working a lot, it was tough to come home and do exercise or walk, because you're so tired, and it's so easy just to sit there, and all of a sudden 2 hours went by, you've been on the couch. And so some people can get up early, and for me it's like, all right, now I got to get up, I got to get my kids out the door,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier than others. And like, oh, this one woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. All right, here so
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I was having a tough week, and I said something to my trainer, and he goes, "Well, you know what? Why don't you just take it out on the weights right now?" And I felt so much better by the time I got to work.
So how do you so doctors want to get started on that, because it really affects your business too, because if you set goals for yourself and you reach those, and you can reach the other goals, what are some ways just to motivate, just to get started if they feel tired? Just give us some of your pointers.
Yeah, I mean, I think just moving your body does help. Is not some I know it's hard to get the motivation to move, but once you do it for at least a few days, and it doesn't need to be much, maybe 15-20 minute walk before work or before taking care of everybody else in the household. If it just becomes a commitment to yourself, it becomes a lot easier. Maybe foregoing the coffee and doing a little walk, or even a meditation or something, just to kind of clear your head, to let yourself focus on yourself just for a few minutes. And then I think you can start to progress that and do other things. So
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure to have you. I hope our listeners got some good insight, and I think you have, someone that they can look up to on, the successful things that you've done in corporate optometry, and positive mindset. And congratulations on getting married.
well, thank you. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, I can give my email. But I have helped mentor several with their Costco's, and I really enjoy it. So if you need to get a hold of me, my email is drmindy@gmail.com. So it's drmindy@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria.